all publicists have the same strategy. First, you do 60 Minutes when you're selling a book, and then you go on The View to talk about what you said on 60 Minutes. You saw that happen with the former FBI director, and now you're watching with his deputy, Andrew McCabe. He was on 60 Minutes the other day, and now he's taking a victory lap around America's media landscape. And predictably, he was on The View today to justify the DOJ's plan to spy on, undermine, and perhaps overthrow the elected president of the United States. Here's part of it.
You understand how far we had been pushed to even have a conversation that included those statements. We were all operating under incredible stress. We were all grappling with this idea that we have a president who we think may have committed obstruction of justice, who we think may in fact be a threat to national security. What do we do in this circumstance?
Because Russia! One man who likes the sound of that idea is University of Minnesota law professor and dumpster fire expert Richard Painter. He has endorsed the idea of having the cabinet invoke the 25th Amendment to remove the president. Richard Painter joins us now. Professor, thanks very much for coming on. Good to see you tonight. Good to see. How exactly would this work? It's obviously never been attempted. This is not the kind of scenario it was designed for. But in your mind, how would they remove the president? By force? With firearms? Nets? I mean, how would this play out, practically speaking?
Well, first, Tucker, I want to tell you you're wearing a great tie tonight. I love you having the University of Minnesota colors there.
In your honor.
I talked about the 25th Amendment a number of times with respect to this president. It was put into the Constitution in the late 1960s to address a situation in which the president is physically or mentally incapacitated, unable to carry out his duties in office.
No, I mean, we know what it is. We're not law professors like you, but we know what it is. How would you affect it? How would you do it? Presumably the president wouldn't concede to being overthrown. So would you rush into his office? Would you rouse him from bed? Like, how would you do this?
No, you don't overthrow the president. This is not about overthrowing the president. Okay. There are thousands of psychiatrists who have voiced extreme concern about President Trump's
I
mental
get it.
state.
You get some compliance shrinks to agree he shouldn't be president. I'm sure you could probably get 99% of them to say that. I would not be surprised.
Under the 25th
But
Amendment,
what do you do?
The cabinet, the majority of the cabinet, and the vice president could temporarily remove the president from office.
But how do they do
for example,
that? I've read the amendment, but how do they get him out of the office? I assume wouldn't want to go.
That's not the point, physically removing. That's not what's provided for in the Constitution, physically removing him from an office. The objective is to have the Vice President of the United States take over the duties of the President temporarily, while the President, for example, would get a psychiatric exam, and then the United States Congress would make the ultimate decision by 2/3 majority. We're almost out of time. Just
put some meat on these bones. So you're always rushing around. We need 25th Amendment. The President says, I'm not crazy. I don't want to leave. I was elected by voters 2 years ago. I'm not leaving. And then you do what?
If the majority of the cabinet, the vice president, were to temporarily remove the president, then it would be up to 2/3 of the United States House and Senate to permanently remove the president under the 25th Amendment. And the psychiatric exam might very well.
We're out of time. Look, think this through a little bit. Come back, and we can play it all out. Because you've just started your own dumpster fire in my mind, and I want you to douse it with the cool fluid of reason, if you would. Richard Painter, great to see you.
You don't need the dumpster fire for this. No way.
No, you don't. No, you don't. We're out of time. Unbelievably. Could go on forever. As a factual matter, there's not much question that the Obama administration spied on the Donald Trump for President campaign. A government informant on the government payroll approached at least 3 members of the Trump campaign, secretly gathered information from them, and secretly passed it back to government handlers in the Obama administration. Now, you can claim all of that was justified. You can't claim it wasn't spying, because it was spying. Yet Democrats are continuing to insult your intelligence by pretending that it wasn't somehow. Here was Congressman Eric Swalwell on this program just last night. Tell me why spying on the Trump campaign was not spying. Just speak slowly so I can understand.
It was not spying what they were doing.
So what was it?
They were conducting a criminal investigation.
But it's not just Democrats who are lying about this. Obedient servants of the national security state from both parties are participating in this cover-up. The media, mindless and lemming-like as always, is of course dutifully backing them up. Here's a brief selection.
I am even more convinced that the FBI did exactly what my fellow citizens would want them to do when they got the information they got, and that it has nothing to do with Donald Trump.
There's no evidence that there was a spy put into the Trump campaign.
All the other people who've seen the intelligence in your own party are saying there's just no there there. I'm wondering what it will take for you, Congressman Zeldin, to say he's full of it.
So let's try this again. In the service of clear language, Richard Painter is a professor at the University of Minnesota. He worked as an ethics lawyer in the Bush administration. He's now seeking the Democratic nomination for Senate in the state of Minnesota. Richard Painter joins us tonight. Richard, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thank you.
So we know that an FBI and CIA informant on the government payroll, making quite a bit of money from the government, made contact with at least 3 members of the Trump campaign during the campaign, gathered information from them surreptitiously and passed it back to the Obama administration. Now, you can argue that was justified, and I'm open-minded, but that's spying. Tell me why it's not spying.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives has already talked about this, Paul Ryan, Representative Gowdy, Richard Burr over in the United States Senate Intelligence Committee. And there is a consensus among Republicans and Democrats because they have seen the relevant information, including a lot of them have seen the classified information, which I have not seen, and neither has Fox News seen the classified information. And I don't know if this is the news channel or the fiction channel, but we need to focus on the facts here.
Okay,
and the people who've seen the facts,
down,
including the Republican leaders.
Wait, hold on. Slow down. If you would, please stop with the invective and explain to me, again slowly, why, given the fact set that I just presented to you, and I think we can agree that that's true, that that's not spying.
No, I don't think we can.
Under what circumstances would that not be spying?
Well, the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives has looked at the facts, and Richard Burr over in the Senate and the Intelligence Committee has looked at the facts, including the classified information, which I have not seen, and Fox News has not seen.
So what do you think? Hold on. Okay, you've already said that. You've already said that. Hold on. I understand that you're repeating yourself, and you've just confirmed that whatever Republican leaders say you believe. So it's a little odd you're running as a Democrat. Another conversation. But suggest to me what they might know. Hold on. Suggest to me what they might know. Just speculate, if you would. Just go crazy as a former law professor. What they might have seen that would lead them to believe the facts that I just laid out, that are not contested, do not amount to spying. Not whether justified or not, but why is that not spying?
Any Republican who saw a shred of evidence that the Obama administration was spying on the Trump campaign would clearly have said it was spying, and yet the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives... That's really your explanation, that some politician says it's not spying, therefore it's not? I'm asking you, hold on, I'm asking you as an office, someone running for office, use your brain. Tell me why, given what I just said, I'm going to ask you for the 3rd time, it's really simple. I'm not asking whether it was justified or not, it may have been. But why is that not spying? Secretly gathering information on somebody and passing it back to your handlers in the administration is spying, but you won't concede it is because Trey Gowdy says it's not, but you're a Democrat? I'm totally confused by this conversation. It doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican. The FBI
then why do you keep citing Republicans?
A job to do. It has nothing to do with it. The FBI has a job to do. If the Russians are trying to destabilize our country, as they have tried to destabilize Western democracies for 100 years, our FBI has an obligation to find out who is interfacing with the Russians and to get the FISA warrants from a judge and make sure and follow those people. We are not going to allow the Russians to engage in this kind of activity in the United States.
I get it. Was there a FISA warrant in this specific case? Because the first contact between the FBI and CIA informant and a member of the Trump campaign took place in July of 2016. That was 3 weeks before the counterintelligence investigation started. So are you saying, do you have information that there was a FISA warrant for that?
No, I'm not saying that. There is no evidence that the FBI acted inappropriately. The members of the United States Senate and House who have looked at the classified information, which I have not seen and you have not seen, have concluded that the FBI acted appropriately. Well, you can continue to make up stories about Spygate as a way to deflect from the Mueller investigation.
Wait, slow down, and stop with the insults. I'm not making up stories. I'm stating known facts, which you are not contradicting. Nobody is contradicting. We know this to be true, unless we're wrong, in which case tell me how I'm wrong, but you haven't. And I'm asking you, given that that happened, why are we sure that that was justified? if it took place before the counterintelligence investigation opened. You suggested it was a FISA warrant that made that legal. Do you have knowledge of that, or are you just making that up?
No. I am saying that members of the House and Senate who have looked at the classified information, which I have not seen, Democrats and Republicans have concluded that the FBI acted appropriately in countering a foreign intelligence operation inside the United States aimed at destabilizing our country.
And I'm saying I would like to know more, and you're attacking me for wanting to know more. Would you like to know, for example, who authorized this? On what legal basis did this take place? Are these interesting questions to you, or do you think it's unpatriotic to ask them? Because that's a suggestion.
No, I'd want to ask questions. I want to know why the FBI didn't uncover what the Trump campaign was doing in 2016, including the Trump Tower meeting, and blow the cover on that. So we would have known about that before the election. We should have known about that. And the FBI did not disclose what they knew about the Russians and the Trump campaign colluding. We should have been told, and that's just wrong. And the FBI director
I don't even understand what you're saying. I haven't understood a single exchange of this entire conversation. Okay. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Good luck with your Senate race. I hope voters can understand what you're saying, because I can't. Nice to see you.